The poem Mirror by Sylvia Plath is about a mirror that speaks about itself and its experiences. The poem is written from the point of view of the mirror. The mirror is the speaker. The mirror describes itself and tells how it reflects whatever is in front of it. In the second part of the poem, the mirror changes into a lake. It describes how a woman looks into it and sees her aging reflection. This video explores the explanation and analysis of the poem Mirror by Sylvia Plath. Background of the poem. Sylvia Plath was an American poet. She lived in the 20th century. She is famous for writing about deep emotions and personal struggles. She often wrote about feelings of sadness, loneliness, and identity. The poem Mirror was written in 1961 and was published in a collection of her poems. This poem reflects her thoughts about truth, aging, and the fear of getting old. At the time the poem was written, women were expected to look beautiful. Beauty was seen as an important thing. When a woman became old, people thought she was not beautiful anymore. This poem shows how a woman sees herself changing as she ages. She looks into the mirror and sees the truth. The mirror does not lie. It reflects exactly what it sees. The woman does not always like what she sees, but the mirror is honest. Explanation of the poem Mirror by Sylvia Plath. The first line of the poem says, "I am silver and exact. I have no preconceptions." The word silver refers to the color of the mirror. Mirrors are usually made of glass, but the back of the mirror is coated with a shiny metal, usually silver or aluminum. That is why the mirror describes itself as silver. The word exact means precise, accurate, and correct. The mirror reflects exactly what is in front of it. It does not change anything. The phrase, "I have no preconceptions," means that the mirror does not have any opinions, judgments, or ideas about what it reflects. It does not decide what is beautiful or ugly. It does not have feelings about what it sees. It only shows the truth. The next lines say, "Whatever I see I swallow immediately just as it is, unmisted by love or dislike." The word swallow means to accept or take something in completely. The phrase, "just as it is," means that the mirror does not change or alter what it sees. The word unmisted means clear, not foggy. The mirror is saying that its reflection is not affected by emotions. The words love or dislike mean feelings of liking or disliking something. The mirror does not have emotions like humans do. It does not show things in a way that makes them look better or worse. It simply reflects the truth. The next line is, "I am not cruel, only truthful." The word cruel means being harsh, unkind, or hurtful. The mirror says it is not cruel. It only shows the truth. The truth can sometimes be harsh, but that does not mean the mirror is being cruel. The mirror does not lie. It does not try to make things look better or worse than they really are. The next line says, "The eye of a little god, four-cornered." Here, the mirror compares itself to an eye. Just like an eye sees everything, the mirror also reflects everything. The phrase, "a little god," means something powerful but not as powerful as a real god. The mirror is like a god because it sees everything truthfully, but it is not an actual god. The word of four-cornered means that the mirror has four corners. It is rectangular in shape, like most mirrors. The next lines say, "Most of the time I meditate on the opposite wall. It is pink, with speckles. I have looked at it so long I think it is part of my heart. But it flickers. Faces and darkness separate us over and over." The word meditate means to focus deeply on something for a long time. The mirror is saying that it spends most of its time looking at the wall in front of it. The word speckles means small spots or marks. The mirror describes the wall as pink with small spots on it. The phrase, "I think it is part of my heart," means that the mirror has looked at the wall for so long that it feels connected to it. The word of flickers means something that appears and disappears quickly. Here, it means that the image of the wall sometimes disappears when someone stands in front of the mirror. The last line, "Faces and darkness separate us over and over," means that people stand in front of the mirror, and when they do, the mirror reflects their faces instead of the wall. When there is no light, the mirror reflects darkness. This keeps happening again and again. The second part of the poem A Mirror by Sylvia Plath begins with, "Now I am a lake. A woman bends over me, searching my reaches for what she really is." The mirror is no longer describing itself as a mirror. It now describes itself as a lake. A lake also reflects images, just like a mirror. The phrase, "bends over me," means that the woman leans over the water to look at her reflection. The phrase, "searching my reaches," means looking deep into the reflection. The woman is trying to see and understand herself through reflection. The next lines say, "Then she turns to those liars, the candles, or the moon." The word liars means those who do not tell the truth. The mirror is saying that candles and the moon are not truthful. This is because candlelight and moonlight are soft and dim. They do not show a clear and true reflection. Instead, they make things look different. The mirror, or lake, is saying that the woman prefers to look at herself in soft light because it does not show all the details of aging. The next lines say, "I see her back, and reflect it faithfully. She rewards me with tears and an agitation of hands." The phrase, "reflect it faithfully," means that the mirror or lake shows the woman's reflection exactly as it is. The word faithfully means with honesty and without change. The phrase, "rewards me with tears," means that the woman reacts to her reflection with sadness. She sees herself aging and does not like what she sees. The phrase, "agitation of hands," means that she moves her hands in a disturbed or upset way. She is frustrated or emotional when she looks at her reflection. The next lines say, "I am important to her. She comes and goes. Each morning it is her face that replaces the darkness." The mirror is saying that the woman looks at her reflection often. She comes to the mirror every day. The phrase, "replaces the darkness," means that every morning, when the light comes, the first thing the mirror reflects is the woman's face. The final lines say, "In me she has drowned a young girl, and in me an old woman rises toward her day after day, like a terrible fish." The phrase, "drowned a young girl," means that as time passed, the woman's younger self disappeared in the mirror. She is no longer young. The phrase, "an old woman rises toward her," means that she now sees herself aging in the mirror. The words, "like a terrible fish," compare her aging reflection to a frightening fish rising from the water. This means that the woman is afraid of aging. She does not like what she sees. This poem is about the truth of aging. The mirror does not lie. It always shows the truth, even if the truth is difficult to accept. The woman in the poem struggles with accepting her aging reflection. This shows that people often find it hard to accept changes in their appearance as they grow older. Sylvia Plath uses the mirror and the lake as symbols of truth. The poem A Mirror by Sylvia Plath teaches us that time passes and we cannot escape aging, no matter how we feel about it. Analysis of the poem A Mirror by Sylvia Plath. Let's first talk about the structure of the poem. The poem has 2 stanzas. A stanza is a group of lines in a poem. The first stanza has 9 lines, and the second stanza also has 9 lines. The poem does not have a rhyme scheme. A rhyme scheme is when words at the end of lines sound similar. This poem does not follow a pattern of rhyming words. Instead, it is written in free verse. Free verse means there is no fixed pattern of rhythm or rhyme. This makes the poem sound natural, like someone is speaking. The poem has several important themes. A theme is the main idea or message in a poem. One important theme is truth and honesty. The mirror always shows the truth. It does not change what it sees. It does not try to make things look better or worse. It reflects things exactly as they are. The woman looks into the mirror because she wants to see the truth about herself. But sometimes, the truth is hard to accept. Another important theme is aging and time. The woman in the poem watches herself grow older. When she was young, she saw a young girl in the mirror. But now, she sees an older woman. Time has passed, and she cannot stop it. The mirror shows how people change as they age. The woman feels sad when she sees herself getting older. Another theme is identity and self-reflection. The woman looks into the mirror to find out who she really is. She wants to understand herself. But she does not always like what she sees. She is searching for her true self in the mirror. Now let's talk about the symbols in the poem Mirror by Sylvia Plath. A symbol is something that represents a deeper meaning. The poem uses several symbols. The mirror itself is a symbol of truth. It does not lie or change what it sees. It represents honesty and reality. The lake in the second stanza is also a symbol. A lake reflects like a mirror, but its surface can move. This means the reflection can sometimes be unclear. The lake represents deeper thoughts and emotions. The woman looks into the lake because she is trying to find out who she really is. The candles and the moon are also symbols. The poem says that the woman turns to those liars, the candles or the moon. This means that candles and the moon do not show the truth. They create soft light, which can hide reality. The woman wants to see something beautiful, but she knows only the mirror shows the real truth. The terrible fish at the end of the poem is another important symbol. The poem says that an old woman rises toward her day after day, like a terrible fish. This means that every day, the woman sees herself getting older. She feels scared of aging. The fish represents fear and sadness. It shows how she feels about getting old. The poem Mirror by Sylvia Plath also uses many literary devices. A literary device is a special way of using words to create a deeper meaning. The poem is written from the perspective of the mirror. This means the mirror is the one speaking. This is called personification. Personification is when something that is not human is given human qualities. In this poem, the mirror is given the ability to speak and think. The mirror describes itself as silver and exact. This means it is clear and does not change what it sees. The poem continues in this way, making the mirror seem alive. Another literary device is metaphor. A metaphor is when something is compared to something else without using like or as. In the second stanza, the mirror says, "Now I am a lake." This does not mean the mirror has changed into a lake. It means that the lake is also reflecting like a mirror. This shows how the woman is still looking for her true self. Another literary device is imagery. Imagery is when the poet uses words to create a picture in the reader's mind. The poem describes how the woman bends over the lake, searching for her true self. It describes the candles and the moon, and the image of the terrible fish. These descriptions help the reader imagine the scene and understand the woman's emotions. Conclusion. An explanation and analysis of the poem Mirror by Sylvia Plath shows that the poem talks about truth, aging, and self-reflection. The mirror tells the truth, even when the truth is painful. The woman in the poem struggles with aging. She wants to see herself as young, but she cannot change time. The poem uses many literary devices, such as personification, metaphor, and imagery, to make the message powerful.